Hi, I'm Brian with Cyclops here in Madison, Wisconsin, and today we're going to go over what you get with the brand new Cyclops hammer and what you'll need to use it with your current bike for training. So the Cyclops hammer comes out of the box with a Shimano free hub body, and it will not have a cassette on it. You'll have to get a cassette from your local bike shop to install on there and make sure that it matches the bike that you're going to be using most often on the hammer. You can change it yourself with a lock ring tool and a chain whip. You can have your bike shop do that as well, just like they would change it on your rear wheel for you. You just have to know that the hammer comes with a Shimano free hub body. So you can run SRAM and Shimano cassettes on there, 11-speed to back down to older standards. If you are running a campy setup on your road bike, you can use this same free hub body if it's 11-speed. An 11-speed cassette in Shimano matches up the same spacing for Campagnolo, so you can actually use a Shimano cassette with a campy drivetrain without any issues there. Also, if you're not using a standard road bike with 130 spacing, these end caps are changeable. You just use a 5mm Allen key to take those off, and you can switch to the 135 standard in quick release. You can also take both ends off and put on through axle end caps. Through axle end caps come with 140 and 148 spacing. You'd use an adjustable wrench to take those, put those on, take off and put on the end caps for quick release with the 5mm Allen key. All of those are included with the hammer, so we've got you covered for a lot of axle standards depending on if you're using mountain bikes, road bikes, disc brake bikes, what have you. The hammer is set up and ready to go pretty much out of the box for most users, but there's a lot of adjustability if you have a different type of bike you'd like to use on it. So that covers what's in the box. Now we'll go over installing some of those things, including getting your bike up onto the trainer. All right, so we're going to get a cassette on here. I have a Shimano 105 11-speed cassette. Just like installing a cassette onto a rear wheel, you're going to match up the splines on the free hub body with the cassette. Slide on pieces as you go. Make sure that you leave the spacers in between. Can't forget those as well. So all of those cogs go on, cog spacer, as you build it back up. All right, once you have your last cog on, thread the lock ring on clockwise, righty-tighty. Grab your lock ring tool, hand tighten that down, then tighten it down the rest of the way. And you're set. So out of the box, the hammer comes with end caps for a 130 axle standard, which is most road bikes. But if you don't have that, you're gonna have to take end caps off. And there's a separate set of end caps for 135. This one will go on the non-drive side. This will be the same cap that stays in place on the drive side. If you have through axle, the larger through axle standard, this shorter cap goes on the drive side. The longer 140 or 148 go on the non-drive side. And the way you change that out, it's just very simple. 5mm Allen key, put that into the end cap and back it out. And the whole end cap unscrews. You grab the end cap that you need. We'll put a through axle on there. This is the drive side through axle end cap. Take an adjustable wrench, tighten that down. And then you'll have to do the same with the correct through axle standard for the non-drive side. So we've got the cassette and the correct end caps onto our Cyclops hammer now. It's time to set it up to ride. What we'll do is just open up the legs. The levers on the side here. Legs slide forward and click. You want to make sure that they do click into position. click into position. So held in place underneath the Cyclops hammer is a stabilizing block. You use this for your front wheel once you're set up with the bike on the trainer. And if you're using a bike with disc brakes, there's a little chuck in there that you can put in between your disc brake pads so that you don't accidentally activate the disc brakes and have them stick together. All right, so the hammer is set up. Now it's time to get the bike ready to go onto the Cyclops hammer. So obviously we're going to have to remove the rear wheel. Easiest way to do that is to shift down to the lowest cog. That just makes it a little easier to get it out of the dropouts. We'll loosen it up. And we'll be reusing the rear skewer on the hammer to get it onto the trainer. Rear wheel out, and now the bike's ready to go onto the hammer. All right, so we got the rear wheel out of the bike. Now we're going to use the skewer from your wheel and put it onto the trainer. Unlike the type of trainer that would clamp onto the sides of the skewer, it doesn't matter what kind of skewer you're using on your rear wheel. All of them will be compatible with the proper end caps installed on the Cyclops hammer. So we just unscrew this the entire way. Set the wheel aside. And you can install the quick release onto the hammer and you'll be ready to put your bike on. So the quick release is installed into the hammer. Now we put the bike onto the trainer. We already know that the derailleur is shifted down into the lowest cog, so it's easy to line up once again. Make sure it's nice and secure, and then tighten down the quick release just like you're putting on a rear wheel. So the bike and the Cyclops hammer are all set up and ready to ride. All you have to do is plug in the included power supply, plug that into the wall, and then pair the Cyclops hammer to your favorite app, and you're ready to ride.